Welcome back, everyone. I'm Morgen Reynolds, joining you from the Beyond the Trend studios in picturesque Vero Beach, Florida, in the county seat of gorgeous Indian River County. In honor of our county's centennial this year, we have the good opportunity to sit down with some of our county's commissioners, get to know them a little bit better as individuals, and learn how we can get a little bit more involved in making our county everything that we want it to be. So, Commissioner Deryl Loar, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure, Morgan. It's wonderful to be here. I haven't been in this area of downtown, this particular building, but you have done an incredible job with it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for the invite.
Well, we appreciate you being here. We look forward to getting to know you. Are you from the area, or how did you end up in Indian River?
Actually, I've been here almost 35 years, on and off. I'm from Central Florida, just north of Orlando. And about 36 years ago, my first portion of my career was with the Florida Highway Patrol.
Oh, interesting.
So I did 20 wonderful years with the Florida Highway Patrol. And coming out of the boot camp or the police academy in Tallahassee, 36 years ago, they made assignments. And my assignment was the Treasure Coast. And I had really never been. I'd been to Miami a few times, Fort Lauderdale, but basically from the Orlando area, not knowing the Treasure Coast. So I landed here in '89 and fell in love with it, and had the opportunity through my career with the state of going around, or I should say, transferring or promoting throughout my 20 years there. And from Miami to Fort Lauderdale to the Florida Keys to Jacksonville, back to the Treasure Coast, back to Miami, back to the Treasure Coast again. So I landed permanently in 90, maybe 97 or so. And I've made Indian River County my home since. And the perspective or the context of having lived in other places of the state, and the different changes really brought me back here, and I'm proud to say that this is my home.
That's so interesting. So of all the different places in Florida, was there one thing in particular or kind of a lot of things that made you really like Indian River County?
From north of Orlando, Ocala was a small quiet kind of a country town, and then being assigned here felt similar, but we had, of course, 22 miles of the intercoastal as well as the ocean, so that made a huge difference. And then through my travels up and down the coast and living in Fort Lauderdale and Miami and Jacksonville, I knew that kind of a slower pace was more my style. And then, of course, after 20 years of that, I got elected as the Indian River County Sheriff in 2008, in 2012, and 2016. And then I retired in the beginning of 21. And then in 22, I was elected to the county commission, which I love. I truly love it. I was in law enforcement for 32 years. 2 cell phones, a radio. I was on call. Morgan, I was on call from 1991 to the beginning of 21. So 30 years.
I can't even imagine.
Some of the things that I've missed when my children were growing, and we could talk for hours on the variety of calls and issues, and really leading large groups of men and women in very, high profile positions and very stressful positions. So being a county commissioner is equally as important, but I can assure you a lot less stress, a lot less emergencies, if you will.
Right. Yes. A very different side, but as you said, just as important.
Right.
To have. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first became a commissioner in 2022, of course, after 32 years of lots of action, I can vividly remember at the end of 22, beginning of 23, when some of the staff members with the county would come to my office with well, to them was some type of crisis
Right.
of we've got a water leak or we've got erosion in a particular area of the beaches, or we've got boil water notices, those types of things. And they were very passionate about it. And my mind, and of course my training is, wait a minute, it's not a homicide. It's not a missing child. I
Correct.
think we can, yeah, it's not a
On
crime.
the emergency list, this is maybe further down
Right.
at
I
the
think we can
bottom.
handle this
Or
one.
right.
So I've taken a little bit of a different approach, and I don't get too excited about the things that some would call an emergency, but it's an awesome job. There's five of us, as you know, through your interviews. And each of the five county commissioners, I feel, come from a different background, a different perspective, and clearly makes our board of commissioners unique and specialized. And it's exciting, albeit not quite as exciting as public safety law enforcement, but the bonding and the getting things done and having those small celebrations of getting a project completed, or recognizing our most valuable resources, which of course are our employees.
Mm. That's so interesting that after all the years in law enforcement, now on the other side, but it still seems like it's very rewarding. And
Yeah, it is. And we have, 170,000 residents and many, many tourists. Of course, Florida had 143 million tourists. An interesting thing, Megan,
it's a
is
big
that,
number.
yeah, they come to our state. Couple that with between 800 and 900 new residents that are moving to the state of Florida. And the interesting thing about Treasure Coast, and particularly Vero Beach, is, we've got the Palm Beaches and the hustle and bustle to our south. To our north, of course, we've got the Space Coast with
Right.
rockets and
all the excitement up there. Yeah.
Yeah, just to the northwest is Disney World.
Yep.
And when these 143 million tourists come to our state, they've got to go to Disney.
Right.
They've got
Check
to go
the
to South
box.
Beach and or the Space Coast. So we are very well positioned geographically. Like I said earlier, with 22 miles of the Atlantic Ocean coast, 22 miles of the river, and yet we're still quaint. And I think the direction that what I've observed from our county commission is that we all recognize that. We all realize that.
Yeah.
And we realize that we have a gem, and it's our job as leaders is to protect what we have. Are we going to have incremental growth from time to time? Of course we are. But to be realistic and keep Indian River County the way that we all appreciate it, that's our main objective. And I think there's a consensus with that.
That's very encouraging to hear.
Sure.
So if somebody was coming to visit Indian River County, what are some favorite places that you like for them to see, or that you might take them?
Well, it depends on where they're from. I think a lot of overlooked areas are a western portion of the county. We have world-class bass fishing in the Fellsmere area, particularly with Headwaters Lake, which is in Indian River County, 10,000-acre lake. That's been recognized nationally as one of the best, and it's overlooked a lot. Of course, we have to go to the beach. Of course, we have to go to the river. But overwhelmingly, I think just the climate, the lack of the hustle and bustle of the traffic. It's funny. I tell you more. I chuckle sometimes when we hear about having to wait for 2 or 3 red lights to turn during our season.
People do start to complain about traffic here.
Right.
It is kind of funny.
Your time in Chicago and mine in South Florida, it's really something to chuckle about, but in a way it's not. But overall, we've got everything that you can imagine, from the golf courses to world-class museums and theaters. It's just a quaint place. Plus, you can simply relax and enjoy all of the tremendous parks that we have, that the county keeps up, and it's just a really remarkable area. It's being discovered, as
Mhm.
all of Florida is.
Yes. It's kind of unavoidable in
It
some
is,
ways.
but that's okay.
It is okay. Well, it's nice for us to share what a
Hmm.
special place that we have here. So before you start your busy day of commissioning,
Hmm.
in the mornings, do you make some coffee? Do you have dogs chasing you down? What's kind of your morning routine look like?
No dogs, no cats. Of course, through my life, I've had plenty of dogs and cats, I suppose. Coffee is it the Keurig?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I drink whatever Public has, buy one, get one. So
Perfect.
it's a variety.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget to put the cup underneath the Keurig machine. I've
I
done
think
that 2 or 3
I
times.
think we've all done that once or
Yeah,
twice.
and that, and I get up early and before a lot of things happening, so I'll have a glass of orange juice, a cup of coffee, bottle of water, a banana, maybe some pineapple, and watch the local news.
Mm-hmm.
From 6 to about 6:45, and then by 7:15, I'm usually out and about.
Okay. And after a long day of meetings and
Mm-hmm.
paperwork and all of that, do you have some
Mm-hmm.
favorite ways to kind of unwind or hobbies that you
Sure.
enjoy?
So, um, first of all, I'm a sports freak.
Okay.
I'm an ESPN guy,
All
and
right.
there's certain ESPN shows that I enjoy that are kind of lighthearted, and typically we'll watch those before whatever event is of the night, because there's always an event that we could go to, or some type of meeting in the evenings. But primarily, my hobbies revolve around, believe it or not, vintage motorcycles,
Hmm.
which I've raced motorcycles for decades.
Oh, really? That's
Um,
interesting.
yeah,
Whereabouts was that?
uh, you name it, St. Pete, Orlando. I say St. Pete because that's where I broke my hip and my femur
Oh, goodness.
several years ago.
Thanks.
Orlando, Cocoa, Fellsmere has a track actually,
Hmm.
so I enjoy that. But also, depending on the season in the winter months, we have a big sporting clay network in this area where we.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever shot sporting clays, but that's a game where you have shotguns and you're in something that looks kind of like a golf course,
Mm-hmm.
but you're shooting clay. We call them birds or targets,
Yeah.
and that's very competitive. I love doing that. It's easier when it's cooler weather,
That
and
makes
we have
sense.
a lot of seasonal folks that come down from all over the country and shoot sporting clays. And then, of course, I do fish Headwaters Lake and the river,
Mm-hmm.
the intercoastal. So just fun stuff. My two boys are grown, 23 and 27. So we do some fun things, not as much as we used to. Of course, they have their own lives, and I
Well,
appreciate that.
that's how that works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Raise them
Sure.
up and off they
There
go.
you go.
Do you guys do fishing together?
They do, and
Yeah.
they both have good jobs, and they were obviously born and raised in the boys were in Vero Beach, and sometimes you hear, well, there's nothing to do, and they all leave, and I'm kind of tired of hearing the Zero Beach. There's plenty, but I'm very proud of them that they stayed in Indian River County,
Oh, that's
and
great.
yeah, I mean some would go, but I think the older you get, the more you want to come home. And I've been fortunate and blessed that these two are still in town and have no desire, unless something's changed since Father's Day, that they want to leave.
But it sounds like they have learned to apprite
They
where they
have,
grew up in the community, probably from watching you as well.
yeah, and they, just you know, by virtue of their last name, they know a few people and they're known in town. So that's
Have a good
I don't
community.
know if it's good or bad. Sometimes they get asked a lot of questions, and
Yeah.
it's overall it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that it's easier or harder to maybe be in local government in such a small community where you end up knowing all the people that you're
Yeah. Well, I think
running
that
into.
first of all, local government is closest to the people. We all know that. We can go out, we can survey 100 people today and ask them how our state senator or state representative voted on an issue, or how our members of the House in D.C. voted, or our senators voted in D.C. And chances are they don't know. But when it comes to local issues, trust me, the public knows who we are. They know how we stand on particular things. So I would say it's a challenge, but as long as you know the issues and you kind of have a pulse on the community,
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate, as a constitutional officer for 12 years in Indian River County. I worked very closely with the county commission, not only for the sheriff's budget, but more importantly, with the overall protection of the county. So I think my learning curve was a little different.
Yeah.
In other words, my background wasn't what I would call from a civilian standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was somewhat already um, woven within not only the community, but the county, the budget process, and the key players from the administration to the department heads. Obviously, the sheriff's office has a relationship with the county. So for me, it was kind of a natural progression. When I retired in 21 as the sheriff, uh, I knew that District 4, my district, was going to be vacated.
Mm-hmm.
The commissioner in my district retired, did a wonderful job, Peter O'Brien. And at the end of the day, I was still, to put it in context, I was still engaged with county government to some extent,
Mm-hmm.
albeit 8 or 9 months removed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the best choice I made. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's less stress, and to see things, Morgan, that we can get done, whether it be some of the projects that the community may complain about, with patience, with a patience approach. I feel like we have the players in place in the county to make things happen,
Okay.
and it's exciting. It's exciting.
In its own way.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is. I mean, when you get to break ground on a new facility that's going to help children, or you get to cut the ribbon for Habitat for Humanity homes, or you get to um, deal with the contract of new fire stations or new fire trucks, and work closely with our firefighters and our paramedics to ensure that we can retain them and recruit them
Right.
and pay them adequately. Those
Yeah.
types of things that you kind of get in the weeds on. But no, it's really cool now as a commissioner to instead of being hyper focused on just one position as the sheriff, now having a very broad view, of our, I think it's 530 square miles, and touch the lives somehow, some way of nearly every resident in our community. And every day is different. I will tell you, I thought my old job every day was different, and it was to some extent. But this, I may be dealing with an easement or a right of way or a recycling issue or a traffic light issue or a bright line train issue, a turtle issue,
Yeah.
a boardwalk issue.
Yeah.
I mean, every day is different.
A
And
vast variety.
sure, this morning I was dealing with a situation with someone's perception that a roadway is in disrepair. I've been dealing with competitive bids with uh, different items throughout the county. So I mean, it's different, and it's not. It hasn't reached a crisis point yet.
Well, not to you, right?
Well, I guess not.
No, that's very interesting. Do you know how many employees the county has?
Just over 900,
Yeah, that's a
including our firefighters.
okay. Yeah.
The sheriff's office has about 540.
Mm.
So collectively, and your other constitutionals, your tax collector, your property appraiser, supervisor of election, and clerk of the court, all of those, albeit governed by elected constitutional officers, um, they're still somewhat in the county, I would say, umbrella, as we provide, health insurance, life insurance, and many of those things that are all incorporated. So they may be separate and distinct for their constitutionals, but our county, we certainly, everything from, road and bridge, parks and recreation, utilities, public works, of course, fire rescue, and all those. We have a variety. If you can name something in your daily life, the chances are the county.
Somebody from the county is helping you take care of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we strive for that. Our motto is dedicated to Indian River County through service customer excellence. And we try to preach that. And that's one thing that I think collectively our 5 county commissioners understand that. And that's very refreshing. Sometimes more when you have 5 people elected, to a body as the county commission, and then we oversee our county administrator and our county attorney. Those are the only 2 employees that we have a say in their continued employment.
Right. They're your direct reports.
Right. So, they report to us. So these 5 commissioners, our primary role, of course, is to establish and set policy, as well as the county's overall budget. It's kind of like the Florida legislature, but on a smaller scale.
Right.
And then, of course, we administer about a $550 million budget. And we're in the budget season now. And, there's some wrangling going on. There's no doubt about that. But that's refreshing. And every commissioner has their perspective. But as a whole, I believe that the 5 of us have the same mission.
That's really great to hear that our commissioners are kind of able to work as a team, because you guys don't choose each other, right? The public chooses you.
Right.
And then you're kind of...
More, it's like, imagine being on a team. And for example, I'm the new member. So imagine being on a 5-man team, and every 2 years or every other year, you may have a different player on your team, and then you have to work together. So it's exciting. And guess what? You have to respect the others' ideas. Just because I don't like the cologne you're wearing doesn't mean we can't work together.
That's right.
And I think. I don't think I know. I've seen other areas, other jurisdictions where clearly you've had fighting amongst their council members or their commissioners.
Yeah.
And I've seen that in any organization.
Well, sure. And, that's why in so many kind of, business arenas, they spend so much time talking about your hiring and, bringing in the right people and putting your team together, because, the people really drive the organization.
That's exactly right. And when you really think about, from your constitutional officers to your county, it's about 85% is your payroll, is your human resources. And there's a lot of debate over that. And then if you think about, that's where those tax dollars are going to employ employees that most or majority are county residents that live here, raise their children here, spend their dollars here. And then the other 15% are expenses and capital purchases.
Right. That's so interesting. So for people who want to get to know the budget a little bit more, is that available on the website?
It is. The preliminary is. And as we approach July 9th will be our budget workshop. And that will be a very long day. And each department head within the county will present their budgets to the commission as well as the administrator. And the county administrator will kind of guide those particular things. And it'll have their wants and their needs. It'll have their proposed personnel allocation or deallocation in some instances. their projected capital items. Do they need, tractors, trucks, those types of things to do their jobs, and then a projection of their expenses. And I always like to think of their expenses as, gas, oil, utilities that each entity has. And the public is welcome to come to that July 9th. There'll be a follow-up budget hearings in September as well.
Okay.
And then we hope to have that wrapped up. Well, we don't hope to. We will have that wrapped up. That's our obligation. And then our fiscal year will start on 10/1, October 1st.
Okay.
And then when you, as a homeowner or a business owner, get your truth in tax notice, your trim notice, you will see what, and that's what drives the county, obviously, the property taxes,
Yep.
as well as other taxes that continue to oil the machine.
Right. So indianriver.gov, people should go there, hunt around a little bit, July 9th. Before we wrap up, what's a piece of advice somebody has given you that you found really useful you might want to share?
Piece of advice, always be humble. I was, as I was going through the ranks at the Florida Highway Patrol, I had a lieutenant colonel pull me aside and say, listen, you're on the right track. You're on the fast track. You're doing a fantastic job, but never forget to be humble, no matter what you do. And people can see through that. And I think there's no sense in going around and being somebody that you're not. If you're humble and you work hard, your friends and family and constituents in our point will certainly understand that. And never forget that. Every day, know to be humble. And I used to have a day book that I would carry every day. And back when we did not have laptops, and you'd write down all of your activity for the day. But every day, I would write, character is who you are when no one's watching. Character is who you are when no one's watching. And if you live by that, generally speaking, you're going to be fine.
You're going to do okay.
Yep.
So in honor of the centennial, do you have any little piece of Florida history or Indian River County history you'd like to share before we go?
Sure. 1925, of course. And it's interesting, Morgan, because just to the north of us is the theater here on Main Street. And you probably heard the story, but that was in 1924 when we were part of St. Lucie County.
Yeah.
There was a debate over showing movies at this theater right down the hall.
That's so funny.
And the sheriff from St. Lucie County came up and closed it down. And there was opposition.
It was the blue laws.
Blue laws. So there was opposition to that. And then the following year, in 2025, in the Florida legislature created the 32nd county of the 67 Indian River County. So I think that's pretty cool on how we came to exist. In other words, it wasn't a group of landowners or pioneers or farmers that said, by golly, we need to have our own county. It was something that's pretty unique in that there was, something that they were given they didn't like the taste of. And that shows democracy right there in that, you know what, we have a choice.
Yeah.
And in fact, 1925 were incorporated as Indian River County. And it's fantastic place.
It is pretty cool. And thank you for your time and your service and helping to keep our county all the things that make it great. Everyone, you can learn more about everything that's happening in the county on indianriver.gov. Thank you to Irina and Jonathan and Let's Talk Vero for offering us this opportunity to get to know our commissioners. And thank you so much, Deryl. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.